the mouth of God. So if you're not feeding yourself, how do you wash her? If you don't spend time in this for yourself, how do you wash her? How are you dealing with your own washing? Right? Remember we talked about last week we spoke about James, and we talked about the perfect law of liberty. It's a mirror, right? So often what do we want to do? We want to take the mirror and turn it the other way and make it point out to the person you're trying to get on. And that's not what the perfect law of liberty is. The perfect law of liberty is for the mirror to look at you. And we talked about it. It's one of those little fancy mirrors that the women have where it goes really deep. And you see all kinds. Your eye looks like that big. And you see all the stuff on you. Like, man, I got 8 spots. Where did that come from? But again, what it is it's showing you your blemishes. It's showing the things that God is dealing with you. We have to remember that. As we think about the second point, the husbands show honor to your wives. It says showing honor to the women as the weaker vessels. To show honor means that you, again, understand her and her ways, and the husband is continually granting and honoring her because she is what? Precious. The word in the Greek means precious. You're honoring her because she is to be esteemed. She is to be esteemed. Because why? Christ loved the church and sacrificed and died for himself, died for the church. I'll get it out. And for that reason, it's like you are to love and honor her. You are to love her sacrificially, and at the same time you are to honor her because she is precious. She is to be esteemed. And understanding that, like, if you're following God and you're married, that's God's daughter. And who's your father-in-law? It changes everything. Yeah, some of y'all had really rough father-in-laws. Remember the first time you met your father-in-laws? I do. Man, he was a first sergeant. I was 16 years old, walked in there, I'm like, I want to get married. He was like, you ain't got a job. And that was the last word I said. The rest of it was him all speaking. But to understand like that she is to be esteemed. She is to be honored. We think about what Christ did for the church in 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 19, but the precious blood of Christ, like that of the Lamb without spot or blemish, it's like you have to remember, what did God do as he sent his son Jesus and he was beaten on the cross? He gave up his precious blood. He tells us in Ephesians chapter 28, it says, in the same way husbands should love their wives as their own bodies. He who loves himself, for no one ever hated his own flesh, but nourishes and cherishes it, just as Christ does the church, because we are members of his body. Therefore a man shall leave his mother and father and hold fast to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. The mystery is profound, and I am saying that it refers to Christ and the church. However, let each one of you love his wife as himself, and let the wife see that she respects her husband. And so as you understand that you are to honor her and that she is precious, has your relationship become routine? As you continually grant and you continually honor her, has it just become routine in your marriage? Is it romance or routine? You know that. Now some of the guys are like, just quit. Let's stop right now, right? It's so easy for the routine to set in. We have to be very careful of that as husbands, right? And to know that we are to constantly look to be able to honor her because she is precious and she is to be esteemed. But we are to love her. And loving her is a reminder that it's a romance as well. You are to pursue and sacrifice. You don't just pursue when you're getting to know each other. What happens in a lot of marriages is they pursue when they first are in that first beginning of the relationship. They get married and the pursuit stops. And they can't figure out why things have gotten routine. And you have to be very careful with that. As we think about whether that marriage is routine or lost, it's again, if you're studying her in an understanding way and you're treating her with honor because she is precious and you're loving her as Christ loved the church, that means that the romance starts with love and honor. And that will equal pursuit, sacrifice, and to nourish her and serve her. Now, some of y'all come from a family where you had a mom or a grandmom or I'm not going to say. How do you say in Spanish for me, please? Abuelita, abuela. I said abuelita. I'm thinking of the cocoa. Well, I didn't even say that right, did I? So my wife, she comes from her family's and came from Nuevo Laredo, and so her mom served everybody in the house. If you were a man, you weren't touching a plate. But not in Christ's kingdom. Because you're first, you're last. And I'll tell you why. As the pastor of the church, I'm least. So if you see me cleaning the toilet, it's okay. I don't mind doing that stuff. You see me running a vacuum, it's okay. I do all that stuff. I love doing that. But I understand that's part of me serving the church. It's okay. But for you as a husband, you're least in your home. And so you're there to serve her and the kids. Your day begins the moment you walk out of your door from work into the house. That's the beginning of your day. Because that's the most important time of your day, is when you're there to be a husband and a father. See, we think it's the work. The work's important, don't get me wrong. But the thing you do when you get home, that's eternal. That's an eternal investment in your grandkids, your kids, all of that's eternal. You get to see the benefits of that when you get to heaven. The investment that you made, that you can actually change a generation to start following Christ. This is our first generation following Christ, as Petits. We were hillbillies and moonshiners and drug addicts, and you ask about a Petit in South Carolina, you're gonna get some stories. And this is the first generation that's actually like, okay, we're gonna just follow Jesus. We're gonna do what it says: deny self, pick up the cross, and just follow. Are we following a religion? No, we're following a relationship. And so we see showing honor to the woman as a weaker vessel. And this is where the women are like, no, right? But you're both vessels. So make sure you get this. You're both vessels. I love how Matthew Henry put this. He said, the woman was made out of the rib, out of the side of Adam, not made out of his head to rule over him, nor out of his feet to be trampled upon by him, but out of his side to be equal with him, under his arm to be protected by him, and near his heart to be beloved. It's a beautiful way of saying it. And he says, as to the woman as the weaker vessel, since they are heirs with you of the grace of life, so that your prayers may not be hindered. And this is the part when you think about your prayers could be hindered. It's like, yeah, if you don't want to do these things that God has called you to do, and you see that in both of those verses, there's a likewise. There's a likewise on likewise wives, likewise husbands. But that goes back, this is why it's important to study the whole Word of God, not just bits and pieces or playing Russian roulette with the Bible where you just open it up wherever you want to. right? Because people do that. That's why I tell you, if you start a book, just read through the book and learn it for yourself. The pastor's job is we try to teach you when we get you on Sunday and Wednesday. Your job is to do it every other day. And so 2 Peter chapter 2 verses 11 and 12 actually begins the thought when he says, "Beloved, I urge you as sojourners and exiles to abstain from the passions of the flesh, which wage war against your soul. Your conduct among the Gentiles honorable, so that when they speak against you as evildoers, they may see your good deeds and glorify God on the day of visitation." So the likewise husbands, likewise wives goes back to this verse. And the whole purpose of this is so that when you look at this, you understand that he's telling you to abstain from the passions of your flesh. Again, what did we say at the very beginning? Be continually filled with what? The Spirit. And why? People are watching you. How many of y'all have had, you met somebody from the church, or you go, "Man, I'm a Christian," and you go, "I don't know. I don't think so." Right? I've had that. I mean, we've all had that, right? Where you go, "I don't know, man. I don't know if he's really following God or not." But imagine when a marriage is doing that. And a family. And we have to be very mindful of what the Lord has given us. So again, for us is to remember, like, if you're chasing after the passions of your flesh, then maybe your prayers are going to be hindered because you're not being continually filled with the Spirit and you're not loving her as Christ loved the church. So husbands, here's some honest questions you have to ask. Are you partners or competitors? In the house, are you partners or competitors? Are you drawing close together with the Lord or drawing further away? Are you depending too much on the world? Are you actually seeking first the kingdom of God and depending on the Lord? Do you still study your wife? Are you sensitive to her needs and her feelings and her ideas? Or have you been taking her for granted? Are you praying for her? That's a big one. A big one. Men, you need to be praying with your wives together. Are you at the most, because I know some of you it gets awkward. When you first do it, it's very awkward. I remember the first time I did it with my wife, I was like, I don't know what to say. What do you want me to say? And then she's like, well, this is what's going on. And then you know how to pray because she tells you what's on her heart. Right? And so that's, again, as I look at this checklist, I have things I have to work on as well. And then are you dwelling together or are you just roommates? Now, we're going to bring Dominic and April up. And they're actually going to put this to the test. Yeah, no, to the test. Who did like more hour? To the test. The test will be taken forever, right? Y'all gonna do it right there? You got them in the shot? Can you see them? I can back them up here if you can get them, because I know the kids are watching in California. We want to make sure. See, Spencer knows. Spencer's saying, hey, get it right. You got it? Okay, cool. All right, Dominic and April, this time you have chosen to become husband and wife. And we are here not only to witness your commitment to God and to each other, but also to celebrate today with you. We are such joy as a church gets to celebrate marriage, and we remember, as we know, that these are, when we think about marriage, it was made in heaven, and the responsibility for the maintenance work is what we do. Men get to do is to help continue that work here on this earth. And so marriage is a holy covenant between man and a woman and God for a lifetime. In the Old Testament, and I don't know how this is going to play here, but we'll see. And this is something I always share, because in the Old Testament, what they used to do is they would actually slay an animal, and they would separate the carcasses in two halves, and the couple would walk through it as a covenant. Now, what that meant was it was meant for death. Now, I know you're going, Pastor, that's too much. But it's the reality of what it is like when we look to marriage, marriage is unto death, in sickness and in health, and unto death. And so when God looks at it, he looks at it as to unto death. And so it's actually called, one of the pastors used to call it the walk into death, which is not a great thing for marriage, right? But it is the truth of it, is like it is unto death. And so Genesis chapter 2, verses 24 and 25 says, "Therefore a man shall leave his father and his mother, and hold fast to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. And the man and his wife were both naked, and were not ashamed." Unfortunately, the devil never messed with Adam but by himself, but soon after, he sure went after Eve, and he sure goes after marriages today and families today. And so, when we look at marriage, Jesus even spoke about marriage, and spoke about quite a bit within this verse, and actually confirmed what God had created in Mark chapter 10, verses 5 through 9. And Jesus said to them, "Because of your hardness of heart, he wrote a commandment, but from the beginning of creation, God made them male and female. Therefore a man shall leave his father and mother, and hold fast to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. So they are no longer two, but one flesh. What therefore God has joined together, let no man separate." So what we're witnessing in this marriage, we hope that despite the stresses and the things that go on in life, is that you remember the commitment that you have with Christ, that you remember that you serve one another out of reverence for Christ, that you remember the verse that you all have probably had in your wedding in 1 Corinthians 13, verses 4 through 7, "Love is patient and kind. Love does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, and endures all things." Pastor Chuck used to always say, why don't you insert your name there? Mike is patient and kind. Are you? Right? Are you, when you think about it, do you rejoice at wrongdoing? You know, it's a reminder, it's a litmus test for us as we walk in this life of marriage. Many of us have used that as a marriage vow, but we never looked at it beyond anything besides the marriage day. Right? How many of you have that hanging on your wall? Or you use that at your ceremony and you never thought about going back to it again? This is one of those verses that you can always ring back to and know where your heart is and where your relationship with Christ is. So before you're joined in marriage, I am to remind you of the solemn and enduring nature of the relationship into what you're about to enter with God and each other, and witnessed by the church, your family, and your friends. I would tell you to turn to each other, but y'all have already marvelously done that. Dominic's not waiting no time, right? All right, Dominic, this is for you. This is your I do. Do you, Dominic? I thought you were going to take that off when you gave the kiss.
Yeah.
That's okay. No, let's Spencer, what do you think?
It's beautiful.
There you go. Very good. Good. It's always good to have family and friends here. Okay. Do you, Dominic, take April to be your lawfully wedded wife from this day forward, to have and to hold, forsaking all others, for better or for worse, for richer and poorer, in sickness and in health, to love and cherish for so long as you both shall live?
I do.
And do you, April, take Dominic to be your lawfully wedded husband from this day forward, to have and to hold, forsaking all others, for better and for worse, for richer and poor, in sickness and health, to love and cherish for so long as you both shall live?
I do.
Okay, Spencer, it's time for the rings. All right. Thank you, Spencer. There's a great song written by Twyla Paris about the rings. It says, like tightly woven garment, like a metal alloy, we are put together in the strongest way, with a common bond to join us that cannot destroy. We are held together in the longest way, and we could not be pulled apart without tearing out a heart. Bonded together, you are my Father forever, and you will never leave me. We are bonded together forever. And it's just a reminder that you are in a covenant with God. And so, Dominic, we're going to have you place the ring on April's finger and repeat after me. With this ring, I thee wed, and with all I am, and all I have, I honor, respect, and love you. Man, why didn't we use the other mic? You can't hear him, can you? Okay, all right, I want to make sure, because there's kids listening in California. They need to hear all this.
They know.
All right, April, you can go ahead and put the ring on Dominic's finger. We laugh. It's joyful, right? It's a wonderful thing. And so just repeat after me, April. With this ring, I thee wed, and with all I am, and all I have, and honor, respect, and love you. All right, now it's time for y'all to light the unity candle. Yeah. So Ephesians chapter 5, verse 31 says, therefore man shall leave his father and mother and hold fast, and the two shall become one flesh. And so you're supposed to light your candle. She's supposed to light her candle. You lit her candle. Okay, now you go. Because you got to do it together. You did say fire, so you got excited. You're in Texas now, so. And then y'all can light them together. This is the most dangerous part of the ceremony. And then blow them out together. Oh, we got to light them again. That was practice. You blow the other direction. There you go. Okay. Y'all can come back up here again. This is how messed up I was. I thought we were supposed to blow the last one out. And I was like, they were like, no. That's why you have your wife. My wife was like, no, that's not how it goes. So April and Dominic, we have joined together in marriage before God, and these witnesses, they have pledged their faith and declared their unity by each giving and receiving a ring, and are now joined in marriage. What therefore God has joined together, let no man separate. By the authority vested in me by the church in the state of Texas, I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride. It's now my great honor to be the first to present both Mr. and Mrs. What's the last name?
Molinar.
Huh?
Molinar.
Yeah. Did I get it right, Spencer?
Yeah.
Close enough. All right. I'm going to pray we got food and stuff for y'all to eat and cake, and I know it was torture for the kids. They came in and all the cupcakes were out. So we're going to have a great time of fellowship. And so let's